Hello everybody, this is Trust in Lives, or Mark, here with another episode of 10 Minutes or Less Cinema 4D Tutorials. This tutorial we're going to quickly cover how to affect a rig that's already in your object. And I'm using a basic Steve rig from Minecraft. I threw my own texture on it. You guys might recognize this. Made it myself, pretty proud of it. But what we're going to do is I'm just going to show you where in this rig in particular the setup is to actually adjust, its arm position, leg position. And this can typically be used with any Cinema 4D rig that's set up right. Alright, we're just going to hop into this and get started. Now, if you open up your model, and this is Guy Without Moving Face, you guys might remember this from the last tutorial, but you'll have controls, joints, and body parts. Body parts, don't worry about, because if you adjust that and there's a rig, it's not going to take. When you render it, it'll just look like the rig is. Joints, the only time you want to touch these is if you want to manipulate the head. And then you're going to take the neck. With this model, you're going to take the neck and you can rotate it around. You don't want to do that because that pulls the head off. But you can rotate it around, not all the way, because some of these don't take, like that one. But you can use the movement on the head to make your head tilt back and forth. And when you hop into this rotation, if you notice it's not doing anything to the actual object, switch back to your little position tool, and it'll actually change the axis that this is based on. But that is how you move the head around with this specific model. But I'm going to close up joints because, like it says, don't touch. So other than the head, you don't want to mess with that. But you do want to mess with angle. Inside this model, controls angle, and you'll see these goals. This pole doesn't do anything. You can move this around till your heart's content, and it doesn't really change anything. But if I go in here to leg goal, you'll see it takes at the bottom of the foot, the bottom of the foot. And what that does is, since this uses an IK chain, which is, I believe it stands for like inverse kinematics. Basically what it is, it's like taking a marionette doll and you're pulling the strings. So you pull up on this, it's like you're pulling on the doll. Alright, and I'm going to undo that. The simplest way to do this is to pull each individual axis. I pull up, I push out. Now he's got his knee in the air. He's got a little captain in him. This one will pull it out a little bit. Gotta be careful though, because if you do it either too much or not enough, it starts to bump into the other leg and then you can have issues. But another way to do it, and sometimes this is the easier way, and I'm going to do it to an arm, is to actually just grab onto the center point, and you notice how all three axes get highlighted. And that actually means you're adjusting all of them at the same time, which gives you a little bit cooler control, so you can try and position how you want it all at once. And we'll just say I want this one to be coming out a little bit. And to get like bends in the arm, it's really a lot of playing, especially with this model, because you notice how that's just moving it back and it doesn't bend till there. But let's say I try and bring this way a little bit up. Now I got a little bit of bend. But it's literally just playing with these points and getting them to where you want them. Now unfortunately this doesn't have a very good back setup, so to actually manipulate the back you have to go into you actually have to select the back and the bones, and then unfortunately it's not actually mapped to anything because you see the legs separating, which isn't something that you want to do. We go to the hips. You can rotate the hips if you know what you're doing, but again, it's probably not something you want to be playing with. So this one doesn't have a very good setup for having a bent back, but you don't always need that. Basically with this specific model, what you're going to want to do is just focus on the angle points for the legs. The direction has all the rest of the poles. It does happen to have the goal for the head. So instead of using the actual joints, you can use this, which I'm not sure why they have these switched. It might have just been an error, but just remember that the goal for the head is actually in direction. But you can use this to play around, and like I said, come in here to rotate. That'll change the axis that this is on so you can get a little bit more intricate movement with it. And these buttons are going to be, when you're messing with your rig, they're going to be important because it'll let you see the shading, let you see all around the model. And it also is how you set up your final camera position. This one is your zoom, but you can also do that by using a scroll wheel if you're on a PC or a computer that has a mouse with a scroll wheel. This is your position, and it's literally like you're moving the actual model. Other programs like Lightwave, when you drag this, you're moving the camera, but this one you're moving the model. And this actually lets you see all your different views, right, front, top, and these are all, I believe they're wireframe. I haven't really played with them. Yeah, they're wireframe. And you can make any of these your main view. But that is the end of this episode. Next episode I am going to go over lights, and the episode after that's going to be putting in a simple sky background just for appearances. But that is it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. This is Truss and Lies, out.